Well, okay. I believe we are broadcasting, and in any case, we are, yeah. So I think I'm broadcasting, and chat is on. So whatever platform you are watching on, whether it is YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, VK, LinkedIn, um, yeah, I think those are the possible platforms you might be watching on. And wherever you might be watching, I can see your comments or questions. And and if you have anything to say, like especially like if you can hear me and I sound okay. I don't know why I don't hear myself. Ah, probably nothing I was just saying was audible, right? Okay, I'm not sure about that, but I'm just going to assume that is the case. And apologies for that. If anybody is indeed watching who can comment on any platform you might be watching on, if you can let me know that I am in fact now audible, that would be great. I don't have a producer. Oh, you heard me, Paula? Okay. Even though my mic wasn't plugged in, I guess it was picking up with a different mic, and now it maybe sounds better, I hope, because hopefully it's now picking up with the USB mic, and it must have been picking up with the internal computer's mic before. I don't know. But anyway, I think it's picking up with the right mic now, and hopefully it sounds okay. But such feedback is very welcome if anybody has any in terms of like, because I can change volume and I can move the microphone and all sorts of things like that can be done. And let's see, we have um, seems quiet. Okay. Maybe I should move the mic. I think, because I think I have it turned up and it's just too far away. And then when I move the mic, it gets louder. And then does it also get blurry? Because I think what happens is the camera focuses on the mic instead of on my face. Is that what it's doing? I don't know. Maybe it's just as blurry either way. This is a new old computer, but the camera is just as shit as the last one, as far as I can tell, even though I have nice new lights to shine on the curtain behind me, which makes things look somewhat more professional, but still not very professional. But yeah, so a little louder, hopefully. Hopefully that's an improvement. And so today we are doing a little guitar workshop by a popular request, I suppose you could call it. And I've been, there were a few uh, messages from different folks looking to learn different songs and different aspects of different techniques of playing in DADGAD and playing different songs of mine, which are, techniques that are applicable to other songs as well if you're playing in DADGAD or just playing the guitar. And for those who may be just like in the dark tuning in from nowhere, DADGAD is an open tuning, DADGAD, and it's just basically where you tune your high and low E strings down to a D, and you tune your B string down to an A, and it's one of the more common open tunings. And the last guitar playing workshop that I did was also about playing different songs in DADGAD. Maybe I was also on other songs too. Shine some light from the back onto shoulders and top of head to pop you out from background. Ah, I see. Okay, Kelly, thank you. So more like behind me, like we're working on lighting, experimenting. And of course the lights are like sitting on my child's train set, but is that any kind of improvement or not? Let's see. My fancy new lights. Tell me if that's any better or worse. I don't know. Nothing gets rid of the glare in the glasses, though. I mean, I cannot. I need contact from above and directly behind, but slightly off to one side. Above. Oh, okay. Maybe I don't have anything that goes that direction, but I'll work on that. I'll work on that sometime when I'm not trying to do a guitar workshop, I suppose. And still quiet when speaking. Okay, let's see. And this is the mic. I hope this is the mic that we're. Let's see. What settings tells us. We're using the USB mic, and we have the mic volume at maximum. So that's about as I guess that's about how it gets, as loud as it gets with this mic, unless I talk louder. No, Kelly, we appreciate your lighting advice. Okay, so, but I'll get to a song anyway. I guess it's kind of weird for me to be responding to comments that are on platforms that only some of you see. I see all the comments on all the platforms, but not everybody else does, depending on where you're watching. And sorry about that. That's like those people who already assume you're in their head, reading their minds, and then they talk to you as if you've just been listening to their thoughts. I don't know if I know more of those people than others, but that's okay. So, and then I'll try to make sure I'm actually visible here. So Liam in Belfast was talking about the song "Life Is Beautiful," and try to position myself so you can actually see my hands, and start with that song. And this is the songs. I thought there's 3 songs that people have been mentioning about playing, and one was one I was talking about in a previous workshop. I think Landlord, but I thought that, and also "No One Is Illegal" was the original suggestion, so I'm going to get to that, which is a complex song. But I was thinking today I'd focus on "Life Is Beautiful," "Landlord," and "No One Is Illegal," and how to play those songs, or at least kind of run through basic techniques involved with playing those songs. And then I also do private lessons if anybody wants some more detailed instruction. But hopefully people get something out of this if I'm finding the right balance in terms of getting into details without getting too bogged down. Depending on everybody's at different levels with DADGAD, I'm sure. But yeah, you can start out getting your guitar into DADGAD. "Life Is Beautiful" I do with no capo, so there's as far as that goes. Of course, the capo is just to suit your voice generally, anyway. Now, depending on your range, and of course, it can be also just a cool thing to do, playing different tunings in terms of the sound you get, like from playing on the 7th fret and stuff like that. But anyway, "Life Is Beautiful" is in. It goes kind of all over the neck, and that's kind of makes it a little fun. But it's very easy to play if you basic forms in DADGAD. So here's the breakdown of how it goes. Maybe I'll just sing the song first, and then I'll explain what I'm doing. I guess that seems like a good pattern that I did before. It seems like a pretty good way to go. So I'll do that way. If I can get this mic out of the way. You're sitting there in front of me, floating in a cloud. Your chocolate eyes meet mine, you're whispering out loud. Words that make me shiver, thoughts that make me melt. And I can only be thankful for the deal I've been dealt, for the woods outside this window, for this guitar on my knee, for the smile on your lips, for the good you found in me. Looking at the wood stove, the towels upon the sink, with your fingers on my forehead, all that I can think is life is beautiful. So that's the basic form, and the verse just starts out with that basic open D formation, which is the most simple, basic thing to do in DADGAD, which is one finger on the second fret of what is normally the G string, which is actually the G string in DADGAD as well. That one, fourth. And so it's all the strings are in this first chord, this first basic root chord. And then keep that first finger there, and then just with your third finger, go on the fourth fret of the lowest string with a low D, and just you're walking your way up. Second measure, and this is a new sort of chord formation. It's just two fingers. The way I'm doing it is third and fourth fingers on the fifth fret of the lowest pitch two strings. And that is that is the G chord formation, basically. The 4, if you're talking about, it's basically, the song is basically 1, 4, 5. And this is the 4. And then I do this little diddly thing, and then slide up. And that's the 5, the A chord. Same formation, just those two fingers on those two, except from the 5th fret you slide to the 7th. Everything else is open, very suspended, kind of weird, bit dissonant. And then on occasion, sometimes whenever you can get around to it, at the end of the form you can slide up to the 9th fret from here, just that one little, that little slide up, and then go back down again. And of course, as with so many things, with these kinds of little diddly things, doing a slide up like that onto the 9th fret, what allows that to be easy in this chord pattern, in this progression, to do is that you're going to be going back to the open D string after you do that. So then that gives you leeway to, you got time, because you're going to do open. So you got time to get your left hand down to first position without any, without any problem. So once again, starting from the beginning, open, 4th fret, then G chord, then A chord. You're sitting there in front of me, floating in a cloud. Your chocolate-eyed meet mine, you're whispering out loud. Thoughts that make me shiver, words that make me laugh. That's it. And then life is beautiful. And then it goes back to that basic pattern. So that life is beautiful, that chorus is just basically going from, instead of starting with the open D, you're starting with the E. This is the E minor formation for DADGAD, which is basically the first 3 lowest pitch strings. You're barring them, or basically second fret is fretted on the first 3 strings. So then the rest is open. If it were, that would be the E minor chord. If it were in standard tuning, then it'd sound a bit different. It would be less suspended, and you'd be only fingering with these two fingers. But in this case, because obviously the low E string is tuned down to a D, so to get something more like that on the bottom, you do these three. So it's a sort of a suspended E minor kind of chord, and then you go to A, which is the same as, similar to up here, that chord that we get up to there, the 5, but much easier to do down here when you're coming from the E minor. So then back to the open. Life is beautiful. That's the basic idea with Life is Beautiful. And so hopefully that gives you something to go on, Mr. McDonald. And hopefully everybody can hear now. I guess you already figured out that this is about as good as it gets in terms of volume. So hopefully, everybody should get those external speakers. Those are always good for, getting much more leeway with volume and stuff than you get from your laptop speakers. I say that, but I don't have any plugged in right now. Headphones are good, though. You can get a lot more volume, usually. Headphones. So, somebody else was wondering, Ron Placone, in fact, was wondering about the right-hand technique for playing Landlord. And this is, it's a technique that I use for a bunch of different songs, and Landlord is definitely the most viewed on the internet of them. And for all 3 of these songs, in terms of watching me play them, well, at least for, let's see, is it true? At least for Landlord and for No One Is Illegal, if you look at the concert in Rostrevor, Ireland, you can see good recordings of, of those songs live, including like being able to watch my hands at least part of the time. And yeah, that's on YouTube. But so Landlord, the basic, so this is one of those thumpy ones, and so the basic right hand thing with any of these songs is always the same. There's, in terms of the fact that you always have basically, if you got a measure with 4 beats, that means that you got basically 16 things you can do with your right hand. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? There's 16 in there, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is really, it's really simple, really basic, and really, really essential. Let's just run through that again. If we got a measure with 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4. And also, somebody else was asking about that rolling technique that I get from my right hand playing in a song like Make the Planet Earth Great Again, like I talked about in the last guitar workshop I did. And this rolling thing, part of that, with any of these kinds of songs that I'm doing with the right hand technique, pretty much always involves you're playing down on the downbeat and up on the upbeat, and getting the rolling thing or getting the rhythmic thing or getting basically anything you're trying to do, if it involves strumming of some kind, is you want to play down on the downbeat and up on the upbeat, and that's true for just so many kinds of music, but certainly anything I do. You're never varying from that. You never, because otherwise you just lose the rhythm. Essentially. So basically you got in any of these songs, but we're specifically working on Landlord, you got you got the just if you think of it this way, you got the measure of 4/4 measure 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4. Right? You know, I can't really count that fast, but 16 pieces in any of those measures. That's 1/4/4 measure. And with any of those 16 sub beats, whatever they're called, you know, you can play one note, no notes, or multiple notes. Or you can mute the strings and do something like that. Those are you always have those options with each of those sub, you know, beats basically, you know, if you get good enough at it. And it's harder, you know, to vary it in, you know, all kinds of wild ways, but essentially, at least in theory, you have all these options. And in reality, you're going to not be exercising many of those options. You're going to not be playing anything on many of those sub beats because otherwise it will just be madness, you know, just crazy, you know, because what you don't play is just as important as what you do play because that's what creates the whole atmosphere and the vibe and everything about the music. It's all about what you don't play as well as what you do. So with Landlord and with other songs like Meanwhile in Afghanistan, you're getting this. The thing is, it's a downbeat groove, and you're just pumping on the downbeats, and whatever else is going on. I mean, the way I look at it with the right hand with this kind of song, is it's mainly a right hand rhythm instrument kind of thing. Your right hand is a hammer, and you're just keeping this groove going, that you're keeping this beat going. And the most important thing is to keep on with the downbeats, with the beating on the guitar and the downbeats. And whatever you're doing in between is sort of somewhat less important as long as that groove is maintained. But what you are doing in between is playing one of those 16 subbeats, whether you're muting or playing a note, single note, or a chord. So having explained that, I'll just run through a little bit of the song. So see if that, you know. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, actually, you know, in reality, I take the song faster, but I'm not gonna. I guess, I mean, I could show you how I do it faster, but because otherwise it kind of drags. Even, I mean, it's a really fast, frenetic kind of thing. So and it definitely takes practice to play that fast, you know. But I guess I'll just do it at speed, so you get, you know, the idea of how I normally do it. It's about the beat. 1, 2, 3. The patroons came from Holland to America, became landlords where none had been before. Soon one man owned 500,000 acres on both sides of the Hudson River shore. He invited families to move in and give him 30% of everything they grew every year. This is how they'd pay the rent. So it's like you're just really keeping that 1, 2, 3. I mean, if you were playing everything all the time, I mean, you kind of are, right? So it is basically, you do need to be able to basically, I mean, in order to do this the way I'm doing it, you need to be able to do that, like all 16 sub beats articulated, you know, so you need to be able to do this basically. I mean, that needs to get easy. That needs to be easy for your right hand to keep that groove going, that train beat. It's a fast train beat, basically, with a serious emphasis on the downbeat. Unlike Make the Planet Earth Great Again, which is basically a slow, easygoing train groove. But they're both train grooves, and so much of this music, you know, my music and so many others, is basically a train, what they would call train beat, a train groove. You know, sounds like basically a train. So, what can I say? So, and then, so with this pounding thing, so the thing about the pounding, if you're pounding the guitar on the first beat of every measure, and that is the essential bit of the groove with a song like Landlord, okay, right? So, like, but it's more, but then what gets the, what gets the cool, what people are captured by, I think, in terms of what I'm doing on the guitar that sounds cool is not just the beat and the hard, keeping with the downbeat on the right hand with that rhythmic pounding, which is a bit similar to what you can do with a stomp box. Incidentally, if you get into using a stomp box, you can do that with your feet, and it's less frenetic. Ilona Planman and Eliza Gilkison are both brilliant stomp box users. But but what I'm doing with that hard downbeat is sometimes I'm playing muted the strings, and the strings are all muted. Other times it's the whole chord, but other times I'm just attacking one string. And so the technique is important. The important thing about this technique is with getting this intense kind of rhythmic pounding on the downbeats is, first of all, not just part of it is that you're able to do this, right? And that's the basic groove you're maintaining. And the options you have is within those, and you're always pounding on the downbeat of that, so those 16 subbeats, right? But the thing is that's really essential is that you're getting the strength for the pounding from your elbow, and it's absolutely essential. You do not move your wrists. Your wrists are basically, they can move this way depending on which string you're playing, and there's a lot of little movements your wrists can make that are essential. Your wrists, it's not that they should stay stiff. They should move, but they should not be where the force is coming from. The force for all the right hand work on your guitar, whether you're, unless you're playing like really intricate, quiet electric lead or something, but if you're playing this kind of acoustic music or basically anything like what I do on any of my songs, then all of the force, the strength, the accuracy, everything comes from the elbow, not from the wrists. And and this is, if you're not used to doing that, if you're used to kind of keeping your arm kind of gripping the guitar while you do everything with your fingers and your wrists, and your elbow and your shoulders are tight, you'll never get this kind of cool sound out of the guitar that way. But you'll also develop all kinds of potential physical problems, and you'll never get a real relaxed rhythmic groove. It's absolutely essential for your body to be relaxed, your shoulders to be relaxed, everything to be relaxed. Your pick should be almost falling out of your fingers, and you should be that relaxed. And the pounding is a relaxed kind of lazy pounding where the energy and the accuracy and everything comes from the elbow. And if you haven't done this before, when you first start doing it, it will feel all wrong, and you won't get any good accuracy out of it, and you'll want to go back to doing things from your wrists. But don't resist that. Resist that impulse, because the new technique, if this is a new technique for you, it'll take a while to develop accuracy coming from your elbow, because the further away you go from your fingers, the less accuracy there is. It's like holding a hammer from the very end of the handle and then swinging hard, right? It's going to be less accurate at first, but once you get good at it, you can swing an axe really hard and very accurately split some wood with it, and you get the technique down, and it's exactly the same for playing the guitar. So you get that right hand, that right elbow, groove going down, and then you can, once you get the accuracy from your elbow, you can pound one string or pound a chord. You're coming at basically a 45-degree angle, not down from the top. You're not strumming like that. and you're coming down at a kind of, so that way you can strum the chord, but you're also basically attacking it. You're coming down from enough of an angle that you can attack it too. So then, like especially like if you want to get one, one note, as I'm often doing on this song, like. And then I mean, if anybody, if you want to get into the really nitty gritty stuff, just in terms of running through that solo a little bit, if you want to do what I'm doing, it's just a bunch of series of pull offs. You just keep the thing going, and instead of playing a note or you're just doing a pull off. Can be very cool, So, now to drop C? No, I'm not going to try that. Although drop C can be very cool. Although I don't know if you'd want to do that without new strings that are, because then it gets really low for these strings. But there was a guy at the Kerrville Folk Festival that I attended for in 1997 for one summer for 18 days or so. Can't remember his name, but he sure did amazing, cool stuff and dropped C. So, and so the other. Now I can't remember who it was talking about it, but I can look it up. But anyway, no one is illegal, and that's another one. Yeah, as I mentioned, you can find that from a good live recording of it from live in Ross Trevor on YouTube. And so on that, I'm doing it on the 7th fret capo, but I'll do it with the capo on the 3rd fret just to be confusing. So, I mean, so to basically, I don't know. This is probably one of the more complicated songs that I've done with DADGAD. In terms of the fingering and stuff. So if you're a beginner, then I'm probably just going to lose you here. But if you're into DADGAD and you want to get into some other, kind of more, I guess, not necessarily advanced, but, beyond the 1-4-5 chords that I've been working with for these workshops in the past, largely. It would Make the Planet Earth again great again. That's a complex song as well, and I was doing that in the last workshop. But other songs I've been trying to focus on have been generally, somewhat simpler. But anyway, this isn't one of them. And so I'll just run through a little bit of it, and then I'll get into what I'm doing here. Clouds gather in your forests, drift to my desert town, and I think of far-off places as the rain is coming down. You're bent down in the fields, picking fruit there from the vine, and it ends up on my table as it moves on down the line. Shines brightly in the night sky. The river flows from south to north with the changing of the seasons. The birds migrate back and forth, but they say that you can't come here, not in the light of day. Somebody has got plans for you. Starve at home or hide away. Will we open up the borders? Tear down the prison walls. Declare that no one is illegal. Watch the giant as it falls. So much travels across these borders. So much is bought and sold. One way goes the gunships, the other comes the gold. Free trade is like a needle, drawing blood straight from your heart. The border's like a prison, keeping friends apart. Will we open up the borders? Tear down the prison walls, declare that no one is illegal. Watch the giant as it falls. Hear the stockholders cheering. So that's the first verse goes twice, but so to get into that, and thought I'd start with Life is Beautiful because actually it's the same formation at the beginning, right? So you're starting with this open D formation, and then same as Life is Beautiful, starting out and working your way up there. Okay, and then it goes up, working the bass up there to the A. Then I suspend it there, but it's basically just going up to the A. So we're going open to 4th fret fingered. I'm talking about if the capo weren't there, but 4th fret, then the G formation, and the A formation. And then we're still working our way up with the bass, B minor. And then back down, G, except I add this dissonant thing here. I like to do that with the G chord sometimes, because in this song particularly. So it's just like the G chord we've been playing with the 2 fingers, but also with my first finger on the 4th fret up on the 3rd string, third lowest pitch string, right? So it's like 5th fret, 4th, then the rest open. So that makes for that little 7th or whatever that is that gives it that wonderful dissonant quality. And then also with that B minor I was doing before, I'm also doing a dissonant version of it rather than doing the more consonant sounding like. It's still suspended there. If you play like more like with the first 3 notes fingered at like that first that kind of formation where you're fingering on the 2nd fret of the A string, and then like kind of like the beginning of a regular B minor or B major chord, the first 3 notes of one of those chords if you're in standard. But then what I'm often doing is not fingering that 3rd note of it, so it's just just fingering two things, and everything else is open. So, which gives it another that dissonant kind of quality. So, the chords that I'm using when I'm doing the B minor formation in this song, it's that one, and when I'm doing the G formation, it's often that one. So that's why you're getting these extra dissonant sounds in some of these chords. So anyway, starting from the beginning again, you've got this D open, 4th fret, and then that A, we're walking our way up more, then B minor, back down to the G, then A, this is just, and it's a bit counterintuitive because it doesn't actually really melodically work with the melody when it, necessarily. But I'm doing a lot of that walk up there in this song at the end of the verse and the end of the chorus because it just sounds cool even if it's dissonant, you know? So it's like if people are trying to figure out like what's the right chord to do with that melody that, you know, sounds right, and then you're having trouble because that's not what I'm doing. I'm doing stuff that doesn't sound right. That's why it's harder to figure out if you're not into dissonance, I guess. But so just running through a verse again, like clouds gather in your forest, drift to my desert town. Then G, and I think of far off places. A, as the rain is coming down, I'm working up to beat. You're bent down in the fields. Then G, picking fruit there from the vine. Then A, and it ends up on my table as it moves on down the line. T, that doesn't match, right? Dissonant, but it's cool. Then it resolves when you come down, you know, then that's why it's cool. You know, if you left it hanging, I don't know, but then it resolves, right? The moon shines brightly in the night sky. The river flows from south to north with the changing of the seasons. The birds migrate back and forth. But they say that you can't come here, not in the light of day. Somebody has got plans for you, starve at home or hide away. Will we? Back to the open D for the chorus. Open up the borders, then A. Tear down the prison wall, then that walk up. Declare that no one is illegal. Watch the giant as it falls. So much travels across these, but it starts over again. Yeah, and then if you're for the ambitious among you who want to do that solo that comes up, I'm just playing the melody of the basically I'm just playing part of the melody that I'm singing, but I'm doing it on the guitar. So I'll just run through that a little bit, what I'm doing there with that solo, right? So we'll open up the borders, tear down the prison walls, declare that no one is illegal. Watch the giant as it falls. So that's just like the clouds gather in your forest. Variation, right? Clouds gather. Then we do the bass, which is easy because the bass you can finger that with your third finger, right? So that and do that with your first and fourth. So you got room for all that. So there's that G chord, right? And then instead of doing that dissonant thing here, we're doing you first finger on the fourth string down on the fourth fret. So then it's not dissonant as it would be if you were doing that formation that I was showing you before, right? You put it on the fourth fret, and then it's just part of that scale, a very consonant part of that scale, right? So which is where that melodic note is in the melody, right there. So that's in the G formation here, and then instead of doing the A formation, which is just like one or two like that, you can add. I mean, if you were to add the octave, then it would just be like a even sort of more octavey sounding version of this A chord, right? But then you go one fret below the octave, seventh to the minor, whatever it is called, one fret below that, seventh. Then it's just part of that. It's one of the notes in that D major scale. Although it sounds very dissonant because sevenths are dissonant, but and then you can resolve it, right? After that A, we move up to the B chord, where then we're resolving it because now it's a D. You know, that's a more. What is that? I don't know. Is that a fifth? And then down in the fields, and then with the G, can keep the top and that same note. And then we just do this walk up at the end. I know I'm losing you here. I'm just gonna go through that little solo again, okay? So starting at the beginning. Okay. Then the one note that we do, we're nothing fancy, we just add that part of the, just learn how to do the chord formation that way. And there's the melody that you're looking for it to play. And then find it's in the A formation. Do the A formation, then find that it's on that 4th fret of the, second highest pitch string there, A. So starting at the beginning of the solo. Oops. Then B. You just find it in the chord. I mean, you could do something fancy like, but you can just do, that'll sound cool. And you can also, if you don't want to do a 3-finger chord there, you can also just do the 2 fingers, and that note that you want that's from the melody, you can get it out of the open top string too. And you can also finger it like. Okay, and then we go to G, and we find that same note. And you can, if you want to get fancy, you go. Or you can just hold on to that one note and it'll be cool. And then you can go to the A, or you can go down here and pretend it's the A and just keep it going longer. I mean, either way it sounds cool. As long as that on the top, on the very highest string, it's just an octave, but it sounds cool. Because you're not doing octaves most of the time. So when you do an octave here, then it sounds cool. Because you're just like slipping it in, and then you go back to doing things other than octaves all the time. Because octaves are boring if you do too many of them, but every now and then they're cool. So running through the simple version of the solo again one more time. This is like even with group lessons or non-group lessons, it's always, I guess, you're talking about everybody at all kinds of different levels. But hopefully that was useful for somebody out there. Hopefully more than somebody. But in any case, I think that was our guitar workshop for today, and I'll just stick around in case anybody has any questions out there on any of those platforms. Or if my discussion of DADGAD and how to play this solo has just like made everybody go to sleep except for the 2 people out there who are really into playing in DADGAD. I don't know. But, I never know. I just know there's a few people want to know how to do these things. And so I figured, what the heck? I'll do a workshop. But maybe most people aren't interested. I have no idea. But either I've answered everybody's questions, or nobody has any, or I've become disconnected from the internet without knowing it, or no, let's see. Just arrived. Okay, yeah, you can watch later. It's a lesson on playing in DADGAD for those who are into it. And thank you for watching, everybody. And it has been a pleasure. And I will see you again sometime soon, probably. I'm back on the internet, broadcasting on all these same platforms tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Talking with Vincent Cross, brilliant musician, songwriter from New York area these days, sort of Australian Irish via New York. Me and Paula DeAngelis from Australia will be talking with Vincent tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern for our monthly series Song News Network Presents. And I'll sign off for now and see some of you tomorrow. Others, I'll also, as usual, be back on Tuesday to host Fifth Estate Live, Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and more interview programs as well, Wednesday, other days. All right, and glad you enjoyed it, those of you who are saying so, and I'll see you soon. Remember, mutual aid will get us through. Take care. Trust your neighbors. Bye for now.